Hey, good afternoon, everybody. What's going on? This is Quintus Curtius here. It's June 2nd, 2024. I'm going to do a podcast here, which is a little bit different from what I normally talk about. From listening to me that I usually do stuff about historical subjects, philosophy stuff, morality stuff, things like that. But I felt like I wanted to do one on a little bit of a different subject here, talking about a recent incident that I saw on YouTube. And because I feel like it's really instructive. This is one of these teaching point videos that we can all learn a great deal from, because it really shows some elemental truths of human behavior. And what I'm referring to is a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago, I don't know how long exactly, but I guess there's a podcast or a show out there called Fresh and Fit, which I don't follow. I don't know anything about these guys that run this show, but it looks like it seems to come up on a lot of YouTube searches. Like I see it, in my search results. And I guess these guys were hosting some sort of panel discussion of self-help gurus in Florida, it looks like. And they had a bunch of these guys on the stage, and there's an audience there. And again, I don't know any of these guys. The only one whose name I was familiar with, there was one up there, a dude called Wes Watson. And some of you may have heard of this guy. He basically blew up a few years back in the YouTube prison genre. And he kind of crossed over into becoming a fitness coach and a life coach. And I guess he's gotten a lot of notoriety. He claims to be a multimillionaire from coaching people, I guess, and selling his courses. And there were some other dudes up there, none of which I know. What happened here during this panel discussion was a very, very instructive incident about human nature. And when I post this podcast, I'm going to post links to the video so you can see it. And it's been all over YouTube. It happened some weeks back, and there's been just tons of commentary videos about it, because it basically just really blew up on YouTube. But the gist of it, let me kind of explain to you why I think it's important and what the gist of what happened was. The focus of the discussion was, how do you define success? How do you define success? And I guess there are about 15 speakers up there, and the mic was passed from one to the other. And the first couple guys talk about, my definition of success is doing what you like and being, providing for yourself and your family, and, basically normal answers. And then, the mic gets passed to Wes Watson, and he goes on this freaking 10-minute tirade rant about how great he is and his definition of success, and you got to be rich, ripped, and you got to be rich, ripped, and rare in order to be successful in his book. In other words, you gotta have millions. You got to be ripped. You got to have ripped muscles, no matter how you got them, whether they're natural or not. You got to have big muscles, and you got to be rare. I guess he means like a top guy, a rare specimen of humanity. And he goes on and on about this, and how he has nothing but contempt for people who can't measure up to his standards, and everything is just about material this and material that and image and all this stuff. And everything is really said in an extremely over-aggressive, hyper-insecure manner, just screaming and shouting. And yet you look at this guy, and this guy's dressed all in white with ripped pants and a t-shirt, looking like basically a 40-year-old version of Justin Bieber, the type of dress that a kid would wear. Really, really, really sad for an older man. And, he just goes on and on and on. And finally, the mic gets passed eventually to some other guys. And one of these guys, I don't know, this guy's name is Andrew something. I forget what his last name is. You can see it on the you can see it on YouTube, but I think he's like a Christian. He's coming from kind of a Christian perspective. And again, I don't know anything about this dude or what he was, but this guy showed a lot of guts because he then gets the mic and starts talking about, my definition of success might be very different from everybody else. I think, you need to be able to be a useful member of society and function as a member of society and take care of a family, and you shouldn't value material things, all of which are fantastic messages which young guys need to hear, which things that I think I've been saying, for years as well. Maybe if not from a Christian perspective, a religious perspective, but from just from that perspective. So Watson then gets triggered because what we all know is that his whole identity is wrapped up with all this Bugattis, Lambos, millions, going to the gym and getting huge and screaming at people and, just being like this overly obnoxious, overly just insufferable son of a bitch. It's really sad. So Watson starts going at this guy, attacking him. How much money have you got? You can't, in his book, you can't criticize rich people, or you can't slam on money materialism unless you have a lot of money. So there's no, this is a common thing that a lot of these guys try to hide behind. You can't talk about it if you don't have it. And this dude, Andrew, is challenging him. He's like, well, why not? Why can't I comment on it? Why can't I condemn materialism, even though I'm not driving around Bugattis and Lambos and have millions and millions and millions and all this other stuff. So this basically is undermining Watson's entire identity, because this guy, again, is all about materialism. He's all about the money. He's all about image. And it's a very, very feminine ethic. Guys that really think this way and are all about image and money. It's the funny thing is they think that they're masculine. They think this is like a tough guy thing. But it's fake tough guy. It's all fake tough guy bullshit. Because what they really are is they're feminine. They're feminine because they're communicating to the whole world how lame and insecure they are, how that their whole identity is wrapped up with money. And once you take that away, what are they? They're nothing. They're nothing. And they want you to believe what they believe. They want you to have the same value system that they do. And it's obvious, because if this guy really did believe in values and in morals and in ethics and things that really do make a man great, he would not have had this conniption meltdown where he's going at this guy. So anyway, you can see it for yourself. This dude, Andrew, doesn't back down 1 inch. And you could see Watson getting more and more furious. I mean, he eventually threatens the guy. I will smack you. And the guy is just totally unfazed, And then the mic gets past the next dude, I think, who's also kind of a Christian dude. And he reinforces the same message. So the two of them are just going at Watson. And this guy can't handle it. Because you can tell this dude is used to being the biggest bully in the room. He's used to just being able to shout people down, thinking that he can just walk over to somebody with just this bloated fake physique and just try to intimidate people. And for a lot of people, it works. For a lot of guys, it works. They're impressed by that. They're intimidated by that. Especially a lot of the really younger guys who haven't lived yet, have not been out in the world, and they just don't know any better. So, after this Fresh and Fit podcast went out there, man, this thing exploded on YouTube, and there's tons of reaction videos. And I'll post a few of them so you can see kind of what people's reactions were. But why do I think this is instructive? Why am I even bothering to talk about this? Because again, I don't know any of these people. These people were never on my radar screen. But it's instructive to me because it shows really just kind of what I've been talking about for a long time, which is the role models that a lot of these guys are choosing that are out there are just the worst people in the world. Some of them are just awful, awful human beings. I mean, I'll admit, I was even taken in by this dude Watson. When he first came out, I was first exposed. I first saw his videos on YouTube a couple years back. I think it was during like the start of the COVID thing. And he seemed like a normal dude at that time. You know, he would talk about mindset and getting your mind right and all this stuff. And it seemed reasonable. But like a lot of things, man, you know, first impressions can be deceiving. And as time went on, everything became about just this absurd caricature, this fake tough guy image, this over the top, you know, I'm great, you suck, I'm better than you, all this just bullshit. And this is everything that I hate about modern American alleged masculinity, these fake gurus, because this is the type of stupid nonsense that basically gives all of us a bad name, gives every man a bad name, because this is what people are going to see and think that all guys think like this, you know. And it just epitomizes this materialist ethos that has totally consumed a lot of the attention of the younger guys, and I take that seriously. I guess what I'm trying to get across here is, you know, we have to, anyone that's achieved some level of minor notoriety has to be very careful about what he says and does, because these younger guys, we have to be a role model to these guys in some ways. We not a role model maybe so much, but we have to present a message to them that is good, not bad, that is positive and not negative, that is honest and forthright and not fake and phony and based on scammery and lies. And we have to do this because these younger guys, you know, they're smarter than people think. They key off everything, every little twitch of the eyebrow, every little statement you make. They're gonna hear that. And this is why I've always said, you know, never claim credit for things that you did not achieve. Never claim honors you did not earn. Never take credit for things you did not do. Always be honest. Do not lie. Do not lie. And your actions and the image you put out there have to be congruent with your message. You can't be saying one thing and then doing something else. You can't be out there telling these young guys to level up and be a man and all this stuff, and then, you know, in your private moments, you're living a life of total depravity and debauchery, and everything is fake about you, and you're lying, and what you say does not align with what you're actually doing. You can't be like that. You can't do that. And you have to present a positive message. And I just, again, what really shocks me is how a dude like this guy can get people to pay him. And apparently it's a lot of money. I mean, people pay tons of money to have this dude scream at them, berate them, act like a fake tough guy, do burpees or whatever, or push-ups or whatever. And it just blows my mind. Because I was talking to a friend of mine and I say, is this really where we're at? Is this what guys think is going to help them in life? Do they think this is the pathway to success, listening to someone like this? And for a certain percentage of people, the answer is probably yes. But the world will teach them. The world will instruct them. The world will teach them. But they have to pay their own tuition. They're going to waste a lot of money and a lot of energy and a lot of effort before they figure out that they've been hoodwinked by a lot of image and a lot of nonsense. And that's what it is, man. It's a lot of straight up nonsense. I tell you, watching that video it really pissed me off, because it just showed someone who has no respect for anybody else, doesn't respect himself even, doesn't have respect for anybody else, totally insecure, totally caught up in this fake materialism nonsense, and someone who thinks he has broken the code on life when he hasn't broken the code on anything. And, you know, you really have to be aware of people like this, because this is just one individual, one example. There are tons of of similar individuals out there. It seems like every couple of years another one of these dudes gets manufactured. And they always end up pursuing the same trajectory. And what ends up happening is they spew their nonsense, they get a lot of attention, and eventually they get exposed. And then they go through the whole redemption arc of, oh, I'm going to find God. I was really in a bad place, but I did it all for you guys. I was there to help you. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about you. No. You found God after you got exposed, man. Don't get. Let's not get this mistaken here. Every person who falls from grace and gets exposed for what he is suddenly becomes religious and suddenly has to pay his fake contrition. Don't be fooled by any of that. The tiger doesn't change his stripes. They just find some new hustle. They find some new way to present themselves in a false light. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this little incident. And I think this is the type of thing that a video is worth 1,000 words. So it's probably best that you just watch this video and then some of the reaction videos and just form your own conclusion. Hey, don't take my word for it. I'm just one guy. I'm just one person. But I do think that my opinion is shared by a great many others, probably the majority. And the lesson of all this is don't be fake. Be honest. Don't hinge your whole identity on material stuff. Nobody is saying that you shouldn't try to get the best job you can get and make as much money. I want you guys to be successful and to be financially secure and to be to survive in this life in a way that's as comfortable as possible. I think that's a good thing. But you can never do that at the expense of your humanity and your soul and your morals. I mean, you have to have a bedrock of, you have to have a value system that will last you through. Because if everything is based on flim-flam, if everything is based on glitz and glamour and hobnobbing with celebrities and driving fast cars, then you're nothing. You're just nothing. And you have got to spend your youthful years cultivating this foundation, this moral and ethical foundation, because that's what's going to last you. That is what is going to keep you out of the abyss when life's challenges overwhelm you, which they inevitably will. Everyone is going to go through bad times. Bad things are going to happen. I just driving around today, I just got a flat tire today, okay? It's just an example. That's a minor, I had to pull over to the side of the road and change it, covered in sweat, hot day, whatever. It's not a big deal. That's the way life is. But this is just an example. Out of nowhere, the universe can deal you a hand of cards that is not to your liking. And if you are one of these fake materialist ethos types, you're going to be in deep trouble, So that's why I think young guys need to be focusing on the all around well-rounded man. They need to be reading history, philosophy. They need to be reading biography. They need to be getting into shape. Not absurd, ridiculous, a lot of flim-flam cosmetic nonsense, but getting in real shape where they can cultivate the fighting, the combat arts. Fighting shape, not cosmetic shape. There's a difference. They need to be getting in shape. They need to be pursuing social outlets, avenues, traveling, having relationships with girls, becoming a more mature, adult, well-rounded man who has a collection of life experiences under his belt which can help educate him. That's what's important. So finally, before I sign out here, I'll just kind of revert back to the original question. The original question on this video, this Fresh and Fit, was how do you define success? And the more I thought about that, I thought to myself, that's not an easy question to answer. How do you define success? Because I was thinking about it, that's a good point. How do you define success? And the best, as I was thinking about this the other day, the best answer I can give to that is success has some different definitions based on what your value system is. Okay, what I mean by that is this. The definition of success to someone who's, let's say, a cat burglar or a criminal, let's say, his definition may, I'm going to be the greatest burglar in Paris. I'm going to be the greatest financial scammer on Wall Street. And that maybe is his definition of success. But that's not a good one, obviously, but that may be one definition. Another definition of success is based on a different value system. If you value being a productive member of society, if you value having a code of ethics and morals to live by, if you value a certain standard for physical and mental and moral aptitude, then you're going to have a different definition of success. And that definition of success may be this. You have to find something that fulfills you in life, find a purpose. You have to find some job, some vocation, some mission that gives you purpose, that animates you from morning till evening. Because that's what you're going to need. And that may be different for different people. One guy may want to be the greatest plumber who's ever lived. Another guy might be one of the greatest writer who ever lived. Another guy might want to be a successful businessman, successful dentist, doctor, lawyer, whatever, what have you. It doesn't matter. The best gunsmith in the world, the best program code writer, I don't know. But I think for me, if someone were to say, what's your definition of success? I think it has several different components. I think a man should strive to be a useful and productive member of society and to see himself as not as an island unto himself, but someone who is part of a functioning whole. I think he should reach some state of employment where he's self-sufficient, he can support himself. And if he has a family, hopefully he can do that as well. I think he also should try to reach a level of mental and philosophic calm so that the perturbations of the world do not upset him and drive him into turbulence. Okay? And I think it's someone that also, I think he should have some sort of level of pride in his appearance so that when he goes about and walks around and interacts with others, he feels proud of himself. You don't have to be an Olympic athlete. In fact, you don't even have to be anything. But I just think that you should try to carry yourself with a certain level of dignity and decorum, so that you are not communicating that you're an antisocial person to others. So that's basically my definition of success, the different components that has. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up here. I'm going to post a couple links on my website where this podcast is going to get posted, so you can check those out. And thanks for listening. Talk soon. Ciao.